The world is never going to be the same again.
I'm worried about the world.
The world is never going to be the same again.
I'm worried about the world.
The mass chaos and crises that there was in the world, it's going to be just like that now.
This is not an accident.
How long is it going to last? Longer than even for those of you that have some cash in the bank, way past your cash reserves.
Out of 100 people, 4 will get the message.
This thing isn't going to be over in a few weeks. This thing isn't going to be over in a few months.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today. As guys, this may be the most important statistic I've ever seen in my life. This means that the crypto space has passed the point of no return. From Watcher Guru, for the first time, the number of US citizens holding crypto has surpassed the number of citizens with a savings account. And trust me when I say they've probably been watching my channel. I've long been calling savings accounts losings accounts when Richard Nixon took the US dollar fully off the gold standard. That is the moment savers became losers. Currently, in your savings account, you make 0.1% interest while losing 7.4% on inflation. In the crypto space, had you been holding for the past couple years, you'd be up hundreds of percent minimum by now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where the future is. If you're holding a savings account, if you're trying to play it safe by holding cash, you're going to lose. Now that's different from the current strategy I have right now. I've long been stating for the past couple episodes on my channel that I'm accumulating a big cash position, and the reason is to protect myself against any market downturn in the immediate short term. I'm not planning for it. I don't necessarily believe that's what's going to happen, but I'm protecting just in case. Remember, I believe that this altcoin season is going to happen in the immediate upcoming future, and I'm still for that scenario. However, we always have to be prepared in case we're wrong, and that's why cash is being accumulated right now. Now, I had been stating recently that we were going to be experience a slight downturn in the market before continuing to go up in value, and that seems to be the case as it's playing out perfectly. Blockchain Backers TA is confirming that at the moment, and we still have to wait to see if this pattern confirms itself. I personally think it will, because if we rise past the $50,000 mark again, that is the time frame where I believe our altcoins are going to have a chance to explode in value. We are here for the altcoin bull run. We don't care too much about a 20% price swing in Bitcoin for any other reason other than it means our alts are going to have room to run. We're running out of time, and we have plenty of things in the real world happening now that are letting me know that massive things are at play. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. As the greatest marketing campaign for crypto is happening in Canada right now.
So you're confirming that accounts have been frozen, both personal and corporate, but you're not releasing the information. And the actual follow-up is, I'm just wondering whether the bank accounts will be targeted of individuals who donated to the Give, Send, Go and the GoFundMe campaigns. Are they considered designated people under the Emergencies Act, meaning that their credit cards could be cut and financial services are targeting them as well?
Okay, so the names of both individuals and entities, as well as crypto wallets, have been shared by the RCMP with financial institutions, and accounts have been frozen, and more accounts will be frozen. Crowdfunding platforms and payment service providers have started the registration process with FinTrack. In terms of the specifics on whose accounts are being frozen, you now have the regulations. The financial service providers have those regulations as well, and they, working with law enforcement, will be making the operational decisions.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have here that Canada has sanctioned 34 crypto wallets. They're freezing bank accounts. And let me give you an example. Right here, we had some bank runs happening in Canada, and the response were outages at these banks. This is important to note. This is what a social credit score type system would look like. This is why a cashless society is not ideal. This is the world they want, and this is the world they're going to have. I'm not going to sugarcoat this to any of you. XRP offers the opportunity to get rich, but it also will help bring on this type of system. Guys, don't get it twisted. We are in the right place at the right time, but we are witnessing the mainstream catalysts for why crypto will be adopted. People will find refuge in the crypto space. But one thing I must warn you all about is that we are in uncertain times. We are in the most dangerous time in crypto history, and our governments are about to pull one of the most monstrous moves of all time right now. The FBI is going to form a national cryptocurrency unit focusing on the seizure of virtual assets like Bitcoin and blockchain analysis. But personally speaking, let me translate what that means. Dennis Porter said it best. The FBI is trying to learn how to take your Bitcoin and crypto. And if that doesn't scare the living hell out of you into taking your damn tokens off the exchanges, I don't know what will. Ladies and gentlemen, the other day, I had posted a video stating my first set of exit price targets have been put on the exchanges. Since then, since I saw this FBI tweet right here, I have since taken them off the exchanges just in case, because I don't know what the hell can happen. And when I read things like this, I get nervous. Ladies and gentlemen, let me read you something else. Right here, Jesse Powell is the CEO of Kraken, and he gave us an ominous warning. Someone stated, is it possible that Kraken will be put in a position where they're told to freeze assets by police without judicial consent, and will probably comply? 100% yes, it has and will happen. And 100% yes, we will be forced to comply. If you're worried about it, don't keep your funds with any centralized regulated custodian. We cannot protect you. Get your coins and cash out, and only trade peer-to-peer. This, while frightening to a lot of people, was a godsend by Jesse Powell, the CEO of Kraken. This is 110% confirmation that they can do what I've been warning about for years. Yet again, like clockwork, I'm trying to protect you from getting your damn crypto stolen by your favorite government. Doesn't matter which one it is. None of them love you. All of them will steal from you. What do you think bank bail-ins are? The only thing I've ever said could prevent us from getting rich is one of two things. It's if the government cheats or steals from you. Both of those scenarios are at play here. And I refuse to let you go by uninformed of what could happen. Get your damn cryptos off the exchanges, for the love of God. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with that in your minds, let's pivot our attention away to this Joe Biden executive order once again, because Biden is seen issuing crypto oversight executive order next week. We were promised this 2 weeks ago, but it seems like this coming week at some point between Monday to Friday is when it's going to launch. Here's what I'm going to say. It could in the immediate short term bring markets down a little more, but overall, regulation and some form of clarity will be good for the space. And remember that chart I showed you by blockchain backer. I do believe Bitcoin pivots up for a little bit and allows some room for this altcoin season before markets tank. That 70% crash is on the table after an altcoin season, in my opinion. But remember, all these geopolitical tensions are at play here. Even though the world looks disgusting, Tony from Thinking Crypto highlights some important things going on. Russia-Ukraine invasion is looming. Putin turns bullish on crypto and green lights regulations. Ukraine today made crypto legal. Ladies and gentlemen, something big is happening. Today, we saw a massive report, a massive leak of information from Ripple. And let's briefly highlight what was discussed. Here, Ripple's general counsel Stuart Alderati stated the conclusion of these now public 2012 memos is clear. XRP do not constitute securities posted by James Finlan. The fact that Ripple had the foresight to seek legal advice from a prominent firm in 2012 in the absence of clear case law and 5 years before the SEC even started talking about digital assets should be applauded. This was massive. And Brad Garlinghouse, the Ripple CEO, stated the truth is out for everyone to read. What we see is that the SEC waited 8 years to decide. They disagreed with this analysis. They decimated thousands and thousands of XRP holders, who they purport to protect in the process. Ladies and gentlemen, in the meantime, Ripple is showing they have nothing to hide, while the SEC is hiding everything. And Gary, what are you hiding, Gary? Well, Gary has a lot to hide, as he proved in his Fox Business interview the other day, where he likes to skirt around answers to questions that should be obvious. Please take a listen.
Is filed with against Ripple XRP. And again, without commenting on specifics, because I know you don't, what's the SEC's theory on certain elements of the crypto world that are considered securities, which would subject them to the SEC's stricter purview, versus currencies which are not held to that kind of purview?
So it's pretty straightforward, actually, is that in the 1930s, after the collapse of the markets and the public getting defrauded, there was a basic bargain, and Congress wrote with a very broad brush the definition of security. And they included like 32 different terms. And amongst those terms, the conceptual framework was the public investing money, anticipating profits on the efforts of others. And the Supreme Court in the 1940s and multiple times since then have had the same approach. My predecessor, Jay Clayton, said it as well as I could say it, that in looking at these tokens, it's rare to find one that isn't doing that. The public is investing, hoping for a profit based on the efforts of some other group.
Okay, but that's with any investment. There is that caveat emptor, buyer beware element to all of the stock market. What confuses a lot of people, Gary, and if you could really clarify here, is, where do you draw the line, the distinction between what is a security and what is an actual currency? Example A, what Ripple did, selling XRP to build out its underlying blockchain network, no different than example B, Ethereum floating an ICO, a coin offering to help its underlying Ethereum blockchain. There is no difference, a lot of people say.
So, Liz, you started by saying you weren't going to ask me about specific cases, and so if I can help
I
the
said
audience.
example A, example B.
Yeah, but I help the audience know that it's not, I'm not really allowed to talk about specific cases, but it's pretty straightforward. Raise money from the public, as you say. We have a basic bargain of full and fair disclosure and anti-fraud protections, and you register with the government agency called the Securities and Exchange Commission. And that's really what we're trying to do, is help continue with that basic bargain. We're technology neutral. If people want to invest or speculate in this field, then these tokens, and most importantly, the platforms, the trading and lending platforms, come in, register, do it within the law, not trying to skirt the law.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that right there should let all of you know that Ether is a little bit of a touchy comparison, and this XRP case is a little bit of a touchy case for Gary. He cannot talk about specifics, and it's probably because Ethereum knew they ran an illegal ICO. The evidence is out there, and here's just one of many examples of them knowingly doing something illegal. And then, because Bill Hinman was funded by Ether, of course, that is why this free pass to Ethereum was given. It's all out there for all of us to see. And nothing is more blatant than them knowing far in advance. Their lawyers told them, please listen to this exposure.
But the genius was, he came up with this and presented it to the world. When I saw this, I had this aha moment. He was in Toronto. Well, I was in Toronto within, I think it was 72 hours. And I asked him, I said, can you really build this? This 19-year-old little kid. And he's like, yeah, I think I can, I just don't have the money for it. And so this was a really, I don't know, this was like a game-changing conversation, I think, in blockchain. And none of us realized it at the time. And so I'm going to say at the outset, I take no credit for any of this. We were doing this because we were trying to promote a project. And I'll explain how that took off and took this life of its own afterwards. But he said to me, he said, the problem is our lawyers are telling us this is an illegal securities offering, which in fact it was, because they were saying this is a security. So that became the whole issue.
See, guys, that became the whole issue. And what's worse is that the SEC was caught with the conflict of interest and their pants down helping Ethereum. That is the issue. They never thought a bunch of degenerates on Twitter would find them out. But here we are, degenerating the SEC. What a show to behold, my friends. We are the most powerful financial community on the planet, exposing the government and the SEC at every single turn. And what a time to be alive. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe after today, without a shadow of a doubt, this SEC case is all but over. And I'm going to operate under the assumption that we've already won. Because in my opinion, we've already won. There is nothing the SEC can pull out of their ass that can change what's about to come. And we're going to live to see the day where XRP is the digital asset that ends up being the reason why the crypto bull run continued. The narrative is set. The stage is built. And there is nothing that can stop us now.
So, being nervous about Ripple being able to argue the factors contained in Hinman's speech, what the SEC eventually decided to do was weaken its position on whether it had to disclose the emails related to the speech in order to be able to make the argument that the court shouldn't take the speech into account at all because it was just his personal opinion and shouldn't have been relied on by Ripple, and also that the court should not rely on it. I called this play by the SEC its Queen's Gambit because I just watched the series. It sacrificed the documents in order to save it from having to argue about the differences between Ether and XRP, and otherwise having to address the Hinman speech. Fair enough. Now that actually made a lot of sense to me because it was like the SEC was sacrificing a pawn in order to save a bishop. And then, as expected, because Hinman's speech was just his personal opinion, this is what the judge stated in her eventual order. Quote, "The question of whether Hinman's speech reflected his own opinion or the agency's is settled. Period," close quote. Very definitive. Now that's from page 14 of her order. And then she goes on to order that the emails related to the speech be given to Ripple. And then what happened was that the SEC just refused and refused to comply, leading up to 2 days ago, in which the SEC filed its motion for reconsideration of this order and made what I think might be the first big blunder of this litigation. That's right, I think that this motion is a mistake with a capital M. And yes, I'm commenting from the sidelines, but I'm also commenting from my experience because I have screwed up more things in litigation than most attorneys, so I'm somewhat experienced in this area. And here's what has happened and why. In litigation, you have to have your strategy, your theory of the case, or the theory of the issue that you are arguing, and you have to stick with it. In a DUI defense case, for example, your legal position might be that your guy had been drinking but was not impaired. Now, if that is your position, you get your client straight on it and you do not waver. Now, if he gets up on the stand and says, well, now that I think about it, I don't even really think I drank that night, you are screwed, okay? In a murder case, if your position is that your client killed the other guy in self-defense, you stay with that and do not waver. Never, ever change your theory of the case or issue midstream unless you absolutely 1000% have to. Never, ever do it. Never, ever. So, here's what the SEC did, and it's in its motion for reconsideration. Let's take a look. It's right there at the bottom of page 1, right at the beginning of the motion, and it says, quote, "The speech itself and the many drafts and comments by SEC staff across different SEC divisions and offices deliberating the agency's approach to the regulation of digital assets show that Director Hinman and other SEC staff used the speech to provide public guidance as to how CorpFin, Corporation Finance Division, would apply the federal securities laws to offers and sales of digital assets, including Ether. Indeed, SEC regulations provide that Director Hinman's public statements could be relied upon as representing the view of CorpFin, the division he led," close quote. Yes, the entire argument completely backtracks on what the SEC has been saying about this speech for almost like the last year. And what does that mean from a legal strategy standpoint? Look at what the SEC has just done. It's not good because it opens up the possibility that the SEC could lose both its pond and its bishop. Let me explain. First, the judge has already made a very strong determination that as far as she is concerned, the speech was Hinman's personal opinion. There was no doubt about that in her order. That is actually what the SEC wanted. It got basically what it wanted there. Now in this motion for reconsideration, it has given her more very similar documents to review and changed its position on the speech 180 degrees.
A million thank yous to Jeremy Hogan for this video. See, I typically don't like using that much of a clip from people's videos, but it was so important. You guys all got that message. This SEC case, in my opinion, I call bullshit, and I believe the judge will as well. You cannot go about arguing one thing and then right at the end of discovery change to another. I believe we are about 9 days away from the end of this discovery, and the biggest shift in this Ripple SEC case is about to happen. I feel it coming. And guys, if you haven't been paying attention, XRP's price action has been hinting that it is ready to blow. In my opinion, it is ready to blow. And if you don't know, now you know. Guys, in all seriousness, something big is on the horizon. We know the biggest things on the planet are moving in the crypto direction. We know geopolitically tensions are rising and a financial crisis is looming. Something has to give. And I believe this Ripple SEC lawsuit will be the final domino to fall, to allow the floodgates to open. Remember Kristalina Georgieva and the last video I posted, how she was hinting about XRP adoption. That's right, baby. It's close. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
You want to know how to be a successful investor? The answer is stay with what you know. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to TV people, internet people. Just stay with what you know. If I told you you can only have 20 investments in your life, you would be very careful. You wouldn't be jumping in and out, listening to hot tips every day, every month. You would stay with what you know and you would become a successful investor. Everybody watching this knows a lot about something, whether it's fashion or cars or sports or something. When you see something that you know is going to be successful and exciting, don't just say, oh, that's going to be great. Don't tell all you. Then you go and you do your research and you figure out how to and if you should invest and how to invest, and then you invest. You will know it long before I will, or long before other people in the investment community. You will also know when to sell, because you will know when something's going to change again. Nobody likes to hear it. Everybody wants a hot tip. Everybody wants to be rich this month. In those days, we did nothing but focus and concentrate and dig deep and dig deep and dig deep.